Hello, my name is Anitarky and don't forget to subscribe to my channel to support it. Subscribe and comment. The story of this banned anime takes place in a strange dystopian future of the country best known for its love of tentacles, and no, I'm not talking about the ones prepared by a fancy chef due to the ongoing unemployment problem that the government created. A special mandatory program called the Social Resources Restoration Law that recruits people who failed to integrate into society to perform manual labor. These people are called average Redditors, I mean dropouts. However, it's like watching your retired neighbor flirt with your recently single mother. Things get weird with this manual labor. He soon turns the girls who dropped out of school into relievers of loneliness for the children. Reanime is the boy with the highest grades in school, so he is given a personal relief for loneliness named Reika Shichijo. This girl turns out to be his lifelong crush. Niimi can't believe his luck, but since then he is a serious guy and wonders why his senpai was delayed a year because of the way this government program incentivizes the best students, so they are given special prizes. In this case, that special prize is a personal assistant, and at that, a very personal assistant. Furthermore, the class teacher explains that this is only done so that students can have real motivation without the need to sit through hours of Andrew's tape-based motivational speech compilations. However, those who have received painkillers for loneliness are already beginning to vent their loneliness in the relievers. Niimi wonders if he will also be like this with his senpai, without even finishing his main monologue, but Reika immediately gets to work on her kohai, giving him a taste of the talent God gave him. Niimi remembers admiring Reika for a long time as he remembers the past. Reika walks into the trenches like a seasoned soldier ready to face any explosion his target has for him. Niimi wonders why Reika is enjoying this so much without Niimi. No, Reika has adopted a positive attitude in a fast-paced workplace environment. She is a workaholic who enjoys what she does. Eventually, Niimi throws all her loneliness into the receiver area. Tired from all the work she has done, Niimi tries to get back the encouragement, but Reika remains a workaholic, even insisting that she has no experience. Meanwhile, jealousy is brewing in the classroom. Shizuka provides her services to another honor student named Shiroshima, but he can't take his eyes off Reika after the two are dating. He also wonders why Shizuka and Reika don't go to a top university and instead are doing what they're supposed to. Niimi gets imposter syndrome from getting all that action from Reika. However, he suddenly starts feeling confident and sweeps Reika off. He is proving to be the best lobster in the dominance hierarchy. Showing this to Jima shocks Reika, who suddenly realizes that Mimi's little boy is actually a fat man who wants to smash some donuts. Jima then hits Niimi, accusing him of doing it on purpose to make him jelly beans. Niimi tries to fight back, but it's too pathetic. Reika has to do it for him since Jima's fist is about to meet Mimi's orbital bone. Reika stops him. Judo throws him to the ground and knocks the air out of his lungs. Reika insists that she is happy to have taken Mimi's first time. In fact, it is her, kind enough to allow you to put it in the wrong entry. Jima protests, stating that the real Reika would not do such a thing. However, Reika insists that it is her own choice, convincing Niimi to do the act in front of Jima. Initially, Niimi hesitates and finally relents. Reika even assures him that his asset has been thoroughly cleaned just for him, feeling empathy for Jima. Shizuka offers him her own asset, but Jima gets angry and pushes her away, telling her to stop copying. Reika is still reeling from her feelings. Niimi tries to refuse Reika's services. However, she tells him that she will decide to become a public urinal if that happens. This scares Niimi as she doesn't want anyone else to make her angry. Niimi becomes Chad. Jima wonders why Reika decided to become a deserter according to Shizuka. Reika tore the exam sheet and left the room. Shizuka remembers following Reika the entire time and decides to go his own way as the loneliness relief program continues. The public urinals have become the all-you-can-eat buffet in this world. It's the first day of Shizuka at her new workplace and she is quite excited, currently frustrated at not getting Reika as a reliever. Jima wanders the halls looking for his, just to relieve some of the pressure while listening to the conversations around him. Everything seems to remind him of when he first saw Reik with the wrong entrance. His dark night starts to escalate. Hell, he's even starting to think everyone is making fun of him. He goes to the urinal and asks what's going on. As if nothing weird is going on, a guy asks him what he's doing there, since he has his own personal reliever next. Scoring so high on the test anyway, they accuse him of being there to show off, but Jima dismisses it, instead focusing on an empty EMP slot. His friend tells him it's a new one and he'll try it too later. When Jima opens the door, he is surprised to find that Shizuka is inside waiting patiently for him. Jima asks her what she is doing there, but Shizuka explains that after he rejected her services earlier, she was installed there. Instead, another student overhears this and asks Jima to step aside because he will use Shizuka first. However, Jima, being the jelly type, dismisses him by telling the boy that this position is taken. Jima then locks in with Shizuka. Eventually Jima succumbs to the pressure and decides to play with his personal reliever. Shizuka is delighted to be able to fulfill her duties. At her new workplace, Jima proceeds to berate her by calling her something that will surely get me in trouble with YouTube Dad if I say it out loud in the middle of the intense act. However, Shizuka begins to explain why Reika decided to become a deserter in the first place. Jima is immediately intrigued. Shizuka explains that Reika is drowning in the expectations of the people around her and feels tired of everything she has to do according to Shizuka. Reika thinks that becoming a toilet will be the best way to satisfy everyone around her. Shizuka continues speaking. While Jima is busy concentrating on her immediate task since she has bad breath, he grabs her by the neck to prevent her from speaking. Finally, Jima discharges his liquid white gold and feels the frustration of already doing so despite everything. Shizuka continues saying that she is grateful for the opportunity. To help clear Jima's mind and prepare her for academics, Jima continues to vent his loneliness until everything explodes in Shizuka's warehouse. Suddenly, someone knocks on the door and it's the same guy from before. He says he wants to use the cubicle. Jima opens the door. He quickly and angrily scolds him, saying that he can't handle a Shizuka. However, the guy is already distracted and watching someone from afar. Curious, Jima looks over and sees Niimi with Reika tied up like a dog playing a Mr. Beast challenge of who can hold his bladder the longest. Shizuka invites Niimi and Reika into the stall, telling Reika she can use the bathroom. However, Reika can't take it anymore and decides to let it all out like our longtime favorite canine PETA. Everyone begins to see the commotion. Some of the boys can't believe Reika would do it. Becomes this suddenly, Mimi apologizes to everyone for interrupting their work to make up for it, gives everyone a forbidden wand and tells everyone to practice their Reika sheathing skills, getting punched in the head, apparently turning Mimi an absolute chat. He warns everyone to rock this back door is his, but they can put as many forbidden wands as they can in the front. Of course, Reika is ecstatic about it all. It's like her cave suddenly turns into a mukbang video of Nikocado Avocado devouring all the forbidden wands while Niimi continues exploring. From the other door, curiously, even Jima received a forbidden wand. He is watching the commotion from afar, holding it in frustration, feeling empathy for it. Shizuka tells Jima that she is very dedicated to her job and wouldn't mind letting Jima do that to her. Jima. She screams in frustration, grabs Shizuka and mirrors whatever Reika and Niimi are doing. People talk about them like they're watching a chess game. Niimi is delighted with Ria's current situation. Suddenly, Reika's uterus falls out, but instead surprised, Niimi acts as if this has happened many times before. Meanwhile, everyone has a face that reads what in the tarnation. Niimi sees Kashima on the opposite end doing exactly the same thing they were doing, and then Niimi decides to do the most heroic, and using Jima's forbidden wand, taking Reika to Shizuka's place, is a masterpiece. Van is going to play tug of war with Picasso. Niimi and Jima talk while this happens. Jima realizes that the Niimi he faces today is not the Niimi he punched yesterday. Niimi explains that he and Reika have connected and that he will do anything to make her happily. He asks Jima the same thing with Shizuka. However, our big boy just scoffs at the idea in a moment of silence. Shizuka and Reika are having a telepathic conversation. Shizuka claims that she found her calling. Finally, the two reach enlightenment. The law of restoration of social resources has improved the situation. The economy drastically weeds out those who cannot balance work and school. Reika believes that dropping out of school was the best thing that ever happened to her.